So a couple weeks ago, me and the wife, we saw Logan, and my movie theater that I go to was changing over from one chain to another because it got bought out. And I was really unhappy with a lot of these changes because it didn't make sense for my location. So before the movie, I just went on a huge rant about my theater. And then they reached out, the company that bought them out, reached out to me and they ended up sending me a couple free passes. So I used one of the free passes to go see Power Rangers, and I have completely avoided all reviews and a lot of articles about it. I've only really seen the couple of trailers, and when the trailers came out, I hated the trailers. A lot of stuff about production before the trailers came out, I hated everything. Like I really hated it, hated everything. And then Lionsgate announcing that they have like six more of these things planned. And I went, oh, this one's not even out, and they're doing this shit. I mean, Twilight was horrible. A lot of shit Lionsgate does just takes a property and just rams it into the ground, whether it's good or not. So when I went in to this free ticket of Power Rangers, I sat down and I went, fuck this movie. And then I went, I don't know how it's going to turn out. I didn't know anything, didn't know any reviews, and I kind of just wanted to forget my childhood of watching the show as a kid, going to the movie theater and choosing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers over Apollo 13 with my parents. My parents went and saw Tom Hanks go up into space, and I'm in the theater next to them, and I'm alone watching the original Power Rangers movie. And tonight I went to this Power Rangers alone as well, and I did not hate it. I I really liked what they did. I would like a lot that they did. There's not too much that I can say I hated. I mean, I can nitpick, and the movie does suffer from a couple of tropes that are in a lot of big action comic book superhero type movies. But it also did a lot of stuff that those movies also aren't doing, and they took a lot of brave steps, and they made this film, to me, really unique. Now, I could see a lot of people not liking the movie because I think this movie was aimed at a very, very specific audience. Me. They didn't take this property and try and aim it at. The target audience wasn't kids today. The target audience, I believe, are the ones that grew up with Power Rangers, the ones that go out onto the playground as kids and pretend they're Power Rangers and their friends are putties and just fake beat the shit out of each other. You know, you had Power Ranger Pogs. That's who the movie was aimed for. And it absolutely scored across the board with me. Now, people that are older than me probably going to hate it because if you're not on board with the idea of teenagers getting this power to become Power Rangers, if that's not something you're already on board with as a general idea, then you're not going to like the movie. People younger than me may not like it. They might like it. I hope they do, because I want more in this new world that they've built. But I've said everything that I can say without getting into spoiler territory. So if you just want to know everything that I just said and the score, it's rating really high. And in the days to come, it may drop a little, but for me right now, the movie is sitting at a solid 8 out of 10. It scored with me a lot. Now, with that said, I I'm gonna get into spoiler territory now, so if you haven't seen it, stop, go see it, come back and rewatch this. Or if you just don't give a fuck and you really want to know what I thought about everything, just keep listening. I sat down, I'm watching the movie, and I'm letting it just be what it is. And within a couple of minutes into the movie, there's already a jerking off a cow joke, or jerking off a bull joke. And to me, that kind of started with, oh, that's not in the tone of this franchise. But then after watching the movie, it's aimed at people that grew up with it, so that already knows its core audience is old enough to like jokes like that. I mean, not to compare it to Transformers, but first Transformers had a masturbation joke. And there's a lot of elements in this movie that take small ingredients from other movies across all genres and kind of mix all the ingredients together into this Power Rangers movies, and it works really, really well together. But they took this in a new direction. back in the 90s when the TV show came out, it was aimed at kind of the ideal students of the 90s. Everyone in the show was like perfect model students, all in their extracurricular activities, perfect model citizens. And this new version, they're all fuck ups in one way or another. And they made them a little more real to maybe be more familiar to kids of today that live in a world that was way different than the world that I grew up in. And they tried to make these new characters, or this new version of the characters, relatable to a lot of different demographics of today. And I'm not talking about race at all. Again, this is spoiler territory, but they have one character that is either gay or maybe even trans. That's kind of a takeaway I was kind of getting. Kimberly was did something really horrible as a bully. One character they have flat out say he's on the spectrum. And it's all real shit that kids today kind of have to deal with. And it's also letting, kids of today know that you can fuck up a little bit. But just because you fucked up doesn't mean you're a bad person. And lets people know that you can change from whatever you did and be good. And that's a good message to send to a lot of bullies today. The humor was spot on in it. Like, there's references to other movies. Like I said, it has some flaws in it. Like Avengers Disposable Army for Avengers 1 and 2. This one, they have another disposable army that you don't really matter, and when things get defeated, they just disappear. That's just a trope that is a lot in superhero movies today that this one had. But it did a lot right, and I'm really glad with how it turned out. Bryan Cranston as Zordon was phenomenal. Alpha 5, yeah, when we first saw what he looked like in the trailer, I hated him, but again, in this world that they built in this movie, everything just sort of flows and works together. And I am completely blown away by it because I went in expecting utter shit, and I walked out happy, excited, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So yep, that's my Power Rangers review. Go see it. 8 out of 10. Like I said, may drop later on. More I think about it. I mean, I just came out of the movie, but I'm giving it a high score right now. It's going to be a purchase for me. And the movie just did a lot right. And I can talk more on it, but I'm going to keep this short. So yeah, hit me up on Twitter if you want to keep the conversation going at FrankKemps3. Comment below, subscribe, do all that shit. And I don't know, this is kind of my first review like this that I'm really putting out there. And I don't know if I should do that whole YouTuber thing where they end with a phrase. I'm not. Just go to the movie. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. If you think it might be a movie for you, go see it. If you're not on board with the idea, don't see it. Go see something else.